Hi Golf Gang, and welcome back to another video. This is an update on my favourite build, the Occultist Death's Oath. There are two other builds that I prefer over this one, but they are both dead. One is the old school Trickster Soul Rend from 2 years ago now, and Cold Convert Scourge Arrow. Both of those builds are dead now. They can't work. Before we go any further, I'd just like to say that this character is in Standard League. However, 95% of this character can be replicated in 3.17 Arch Nemesis and any private leagues thereafter. There is very little legacy gear on here, mainly the Quicksilver Flask and my Quiver. Other than that, everything else can be replicated and got in 3.17 Arch Nemesis, current patch, current league. So yeah, it's not a in quote marks standard build. Yeah, going on from that, I just wanted to update you all out there with what I've done with the build, what I've changed. My life pool was going up and down like bananas, so I've changed some things on the build to make it a little bit more solid. I'm now only susceptible to one hit death, which most characters are. I grabbed a map from my stash tab. Here we go. I grabbed the dungeon map. I chiseled it to 20%. I threw and no, I didn't. I chiseled it to 20%. Went into my deli orb stash. Grabbed a fossil and a currency. Deli orb, 40% deli, and then I hit it with an alch map. Threw it in the map device, threw an Alva mission on it, and went for it. And I didn't die. So that's where we're at. What have I changed? Well, we'll go through it now. Like I said, the two, as far as I'm aware, and I've double checked this, the only two legacy items on this character are the Quicksilver Flask, because it's now, as you can see here, the movement speed and duration have been vastly changed after the Flask rework a couple of leagues ago. And the Quiver, I've checked on Craft of Exile, you can no longer get +2 max chaos res on a Quiver with a Hunter's Exalted Orb or Hunter's Influence. I spent about 30 minutes looking on Craft of Exile. I went into Trade League, looked in Arch Nemesis, everywhere. You cannot get them. I went into change it to Standard League. There's only about 100 or so with the +2 max chaos resist. So unfortunately, that particular modifier is also dead. Outside of that, the rest of the gear, as far as I'm aware, you can get in current 3.17 Arch Nemesis. The flasks are all the same. I redid the flask after flask rework, but everything else is absolutely hunky-dory. I double checked it for you all out there. Right, so after that disclaimer, let's get on. Right, so this is an Occultist Death Oath character. So we've got the Death's Oath armor. We've got the Harvest Craft on there for max life per 2% quality, and this is a 30% Death's Oath. We've got Awakened Void Manipulation, Awakened Swift. We've got Efficacy, Awakened Increased Area, Less Duration, and Life Tap. I have tried various different gem setups, mostly the low level ones before I switched to Awaken, and these 6 for me are the best. We've got our Viridis Veil with +2. The important rolls on here are +2 level socketed gems, and preferably a max all res. Mine's only a 20% all res, and I hate it. I need to get another one and then divine it and then get the enchant on it, or vice versa. But also, as you can see, this is a 30% quality with the Malevolence mana res. It doesn't matter what mana reservation efficiency you have on there, as long as it's either Malevolence or Defiance. Not Defiance, sorry, Determination. One of those two. After that, doesn't matter. In the Viridis Veil, we have our Temp Chains with Despair and Awakened Blasphemy support. and a level 3 enhance, which is then buffed to level 5. As you can see, temp change is also now buffed to 23. That is a 2020 gem. If I take it out, you can see it is a 2020. I don't do corrupted items. I know there's a lot of power to be gained by corrupted items. I don't use them. I prefer to have I'm what's called a purist. Unless the item is inherently corrupted, I won't corrupt my items. I prefer to see clean items and I know how much power I'm giving up. So that's the Viridis Veil. For our amulet, we have our Despair in Presence with attribute quality on there, plus Hearts of Darkness. It is a blessed, so it is 16 on the implicit. After that, it really doesn't matter. I mean, the higher the damage over time and chaos resist, the better, and higher life is better. After that, it's really whatever your budget allows. We've gone over the quiver. This is a legacy quiver. The +2 max chaos rest, I'm sure you can probably get elsewhere. I don't know where, I haven't done the research. But ideally we are looking for damage over time, plus a chaos resist, and then life. I've actually updated my POB. Yeah, what I've done in my POB is, I'm not sure what the best quiver is, because we've got rerun a Caustic Arrow in the bow, which I'll go over in a minute, but Pierce is not really appropriate because about the only time I'm using Caustic Arrow is on bosses and chunky rares, so I don't really want to be piercing, so I'm not sure. I think I might try that gain 15% physical damage to as extra chaos quiver, but it's going to be, I'm not sure rolls. I'll have a look into it and probably do another video now in a few. So that's the quiver. In the one in my POB, I've got movement speed on there, damage over time, damage with bows, and then what I've done is added a crafted strength and dex, plus 25 to strength dex, to take the pressure off of the stitch. Because at the moment, ideally what you want to be able to do is sometimes it is necessary to take off death saves. If you're in a party MFing and you're getting buffed, I've done it with a few times on this character, you don't want to be wearing the death saves because your death saves will kill things. So as a person being carried, you don't want to be doing that. So you need to take the armor off, but you also then might need to do some gear changes for resist, etc. And if that happens, you want to be able to take this off and on. And at the moment I can't do that, because if I take this Death's Oath off, I can't put it back on, because the only way I can wear it is from the attribute increase the Death's Oath armor gives me. So I'm trying to work a bit of way around that, just to make it a little bit easier. And like I said, mainly to take the pressure off of the Stitch having strength roll, so we can get a decent tri-res belt on there. So, which is what you're looking at. It's not a decent one, it's one I just happen to have in my stash. So I've got the things on there I need. I've got the tri-res, the life, and then the prefix increased damage, which based on the prefixes you can roll on a Stitch was probably a better one. I could have got a little bit of armor, but not that big really. As for the boots, I've gone with fugitive boots for the chaos resist, with movement speed. Well, you can see it's all there. Life, energy shield is irrelevant, and the extra evasion is irrelevant. A high life roll, movement speed, and then resistances to cover whatever you need. After that, it's a bonus, and it doesn't have to be fugitive boots, it can be whichever one you want. I just went with fugitive boots because of the extra chaos resist implicit. And I know in Arch Nemesis you've got all the funky Eldritch powers, and I have them too in standard. I just prefer that implicit because it's chaos res, and chaos res on this build is awesome. Just take a drink. I've stayed with the standard apothecary gloves with its increased damage over time, and again on these gloves ideally it would be a hunter base, so you could get the damage over time on there, and then life, and then resists to cover. After that it's whatever. Oh, sorry. In the boots, we run Anomalous Spell, Totem Support, and our Wither. And then we've got Anomalous Flame Dash. Why Anomalous? I don't know. I just happened to get one in a heist I was doing. It was level 19, 20 quality. I nabbed it. I've put it on. It's there. Life Tap on our Flame Dash. The reason we've gone Life Tap on our Flame Dash is because so we can max out our Vitality. And the reason for that is because of the damage over time effect. Doesn't seem a lot, but when you've got that running and you're being hit as well, the Vitality really does come nice. In our gloves, we are running Determination, Defiance Banner, Divergent Malevolence, and a level 4 Enlighten. Level 4 Enlighten is pretty much needed in this build to get the Vitality to level 20 without changing the tree. I've tried messing around with the tree too much, and it just doesn't. You need to be on the right hand side to get all the damage over time stuff and the bow stuff. But that means you're limited in what defenses you can get, because you can't stack evasion, because we need the Viridis Veil, we need the Death's Oath, and then you're just left with gloves and boots, and you can't really stack evasion or armor from that. I mean, the Death's Oath has got a chunky bit of armor on there, but all the armor's on the left hand side. But I tried it out. To try to armor stack, you lose a lot of damage, so I don't know. There might be someone out there that's got a better brain than me to do a new POB, but the way this works, it works. So, we've got Searching Argyle, which is life damage over time, two-handed, plus regen while moving, and we don't really stand still on this build. Really don't. So that's that. We've got our magic Vermilion ring with life, and then a strength dexcraft with the attribute modifiers. That is the right ring for the Viridis Veil, so we are not taking any crit strike damage. We are hexproof for right ring, and then left ring, which I'll go over in a minute, we are not taking any extra damage from crit strikes. So in the left wing, we've got our unset ring, which is damage taken is recouped as life, and then crafted life roll with life and mana qualitied. I love Blight. I've tested many different things, and the best setup you can have if you are farming Blight is Empowering Towers do 25% damage, and all towers in range of empowered damage have 50% chance to deal double damage. The reason for this is if you're doing Blight a lot, you will come across Blights where 50% or more of the monsters will be immune to whichever other tower you've put on your rings. Doesn't matter. Whereas if you do Empowering Towers, you can build whichever towers you like, and it doesn't matter, because automatically you're doing 25% increased damage with them, and it's a 50-50 chance to deal double damage. So I don't know which one procs first. I don't care really. That's a huge amount of damage. So when you're able, what I usually do is build a level level 3 Empowering Tower. And then I put a Meteor Tower, a Sentinel Tower, an Arc Tower, a level 3 Earthquake, and a level 3 Chill Tower. Between all of those, they kill everything. And you just build that setup around, and unless that most of the monsters are immune to one of those towers, everything will die in blighted maps. In blight encounters, it really doesn't matter, because you should be killing them with your build anyway. So that's all that lot. We've done all that. Onto the bow. This is a bad bow. I like having the additional arrow because I'm not that great at firing in the right direction to kill the boss, so I prefer having bow attacks, fire, and additional arrow. This is our Caustic Arrow Bow, so ideally the bow, The base is entirely your choice. I prefer a Maraketh bow for the movement speed to get through maps quicker. Ideally, so we've got a 10% increased movement implicit. We have +1 level of socketed gems on there with the 26%, the damage over time multiplier. Then bow fires an additional arrow. Multi-mod to have 3 crafting monos, +2 level of socketed support gems, and a crafted damage over time multiplier. For me, personally, because I want the bow fires an additional arrow, that is my perfect bow. Without the bow fires an additional arrow, you can go for a hunter influence and get even more damage over time, or a synth implicit to have damage over time, and then that just becomes redonkulous. I was looking one in standard, and the perfect bow I found was about 50 exalted orbs, and I don't have that, so I need to grind some money. In the bow, we run Divergent Caustic Arrow, Awaken Vicious Proj, Conk Effect, Awaken Void Manipulation, and Awaken Swift Affliction. The reason these aren't leveled out to max is because A, I don't play standard a lot, and B, I can't afford to buy them at level 5, so I've been slowly grinding them up. And then Life Tap, so we can max out our anomalous vitality. The reason it's anomalous is because when you're on the bosses and you're firing that caustic arrow at the bosses, you can then leech damage from them, because certain bosses are not always going to be regardless of the AoE, some bosses are not always going to be within your Death's Oath damage circle. So you can move around on this and it's fine. The trinket is purely to get Smuggler's Cash of 10% chance to duplicate contained rogue markers. That is it. I love heist. I love doing heist. So the only roll I need on this trinket is that one. And it is a max roll. So when I'm running around maps, when I come across a Smuggler's Cash, I can open it and I've got 10% chance to double it. And for me, that's awesome, because the blueprints I'm revealing cost about 35 to 50,000 rogue markers. And I know you can buy them really cheap, but I prefer to grind them than myself, so excuse me, that helps. Flasks, these aren't set in stone. This is how I prefer to run it. Again, that is a legacy Quicksilver, but ideally increased duration, movement speed. I use the reused at the end of this flask effect because I love automating my flasks. At the moment I'm using a jade flask, but I'm probably going to go over to a phasing flask. And again, I've got the gain 6 charges when you are hit by an enemy, because we're not stacking evasion, so we get hit a lot. So fantastic. Ignite, and then obviously reused when charges reach full, 20%. Same with the granite flask, that's our freeze immunity, and then our sulfur flask, which is a immunity to shock. And then for our life flask, I've gone for an eternal life flask of assuaging, and I've gone prudent, because the only time I really use my life flask is when my life gets down to about here, and I hit this thing and bam, fully recovered. I go from about 1,000 life to max in one use, and it's got 3 uses, so it's handy. So that's all the gear and the gem links. And as you can see, all the auras are on. Malevolence, Determination, Despair, Temp Chains, Defiance Banner, and then the Vitality. There's our Wither Totem, Caustic Arrow, and Flame Dash. So that's that. Don't worry about the offhand weapons. They are just leveling up other gems for my gem collection in standard. So they are not relevant to this build at all. That's the build. As for the tree, so this is an occultist. For leveling purposes, I always go for Void Beacon and then straight to Withering Presence, because then by the time you have just done or round about Act 5 Katava and he drops your chaos resistance through the floor, you've got your chaos resistance back and then some, plus you're doing more chaos damage. So after that, you need Profane Boom or Malediction. It's entirely your choice which way you go. It doesn't really matter. In my opinion, it just depends on whether you want to go for the hexproof thing or whether you want to go for Malediction. Or with the new, if you've got a ton of currency and you want to play this build and you're playing a different ascendancy for whatever reason, you can then pick and choose whatever you want. For skills, for just for a moment, I'm going to take out my Glorious Vanity for a moment. So, what did I do to level this character? We came up through the Energy Shield and Mana. We went straight left for Deep Wisdom, Practical Application, and Heart and Soul. We then came right, and we went up here. We came down here for the damage over time nodes, down here for the life. And at that time, I gained the 15 max life. Now I've got 15% reduced life cost of skills because everything's life tapped. I then came down here and got all the damage over time. I went for wasting with +1 chaos damage over time multiplier per 4 chaos resistance. I then grabbed Charisma. I grabbed Revenge of the Hunted for the life. No other reason. It's quite a nice bit of life. I have toyed around in POB, and this is for 3 points. This is the most amount of life you can get. Damage over time. From there, I came up here and grabbed these nodes. I grabbed this node for the aura from your skills have 15% increased effect on you. This one down here is Mana Res as per norm. We grabbed Written in Blood. At that point, depending on, I can't remember what levels you are because this character leveled a few leagues ago, you may want to start getting your one of your cluster setups, or you can just come through, get Blast Radius up for the life, and then get your Vitality, or you can get Vitality down here. Either or. It depends whether you want to use the life tap setup and have a high level of vitality, or change life tap in this to empower, have an extra ring slot here, and then where your life tap is here, you unlink these two, so you have a 2 link for your spell damage and wither. You have a 1 link for your flame dash, and then a 1 link for your vitality, and then you have a ring of a magic ring of some description that isn't an unset ring. I just prefer life tap to get the vitality up, and it worked for me. Once you've got, I would say, once you've got all the tree done and one cluster set up, at that point maybe go for your Zabakwa gem. I don't know at what point you want to do that. It is completely up to you. Depends on your currency limitations, etc. That is what we want. We want the Divine Flesh because we don't have a lot of Energy Shield, and it gives us +5 to maximum Chaos Res. Hello. And 50% of elemental damage is taken against our Chaos damage, which on my character, I have 82% Chaos Res because of the Legacy Quiver. Actual rolls on the gem is entirely your choice. I've got quite a good one. Other than that, that roll's pretty bad. That roll's irrelevant. That's irrelevant as well. That's okay because it's a flat armor physical damage reduction, which helps. The lightning res is always helpful. This one is awesome. I know it's a low ball roll, but it's awesome. And then that's quite good. Chaos damage, 3% movement speed. Can't complain about movement speed. And next time I level up, I will probably take this node because that's 10% increased damage. I was going to take the whole wheel, or as much as I could, for the extra chaos resist, but I don't need it. I'm already capped. Lightning resist could be helpful, and that is completely irrelevant to me because, you know, I'm not doing fire damage. You could probably, if you've got enough divines, you could probably throw divines at it until you get a really pog one, but this will do for me for now. Into our cluster setups, we have a double cluster setup. We'll do the top one first. Both large jewels are the same: Unholy Grace, Unwavering Evil, Wicked Pal, with preferably life regen. As you can see, I've also got a implicit harvest, implicit life regen on there as well. Not a very good one, but still. So we take all the nodes on the large jewel, apart from that one, or that one, either or. Just don't take one of the small nodes. For the medium clusters, we're using 4 medium clusters, and it's two the same of each one. You want 2 with let's see if I've got it right on this one. Yep, 2 with Student of Decay and Unwavering Evil, which these 2 aren't. There's one, and I think the other one's down here somewhere. There you go, Student of Decay, Unwavering Evil. With Life Regen is preferred, and then whatever else you can get. Damage over time. This one's damage over time and attributes, because it was what I rolled. I rolled these myself. And we take all those, and then I've got an Abbas gym in here because I needed more strength and dex. So this is one I had in my stash. Damage over time with two-handed weapon, life and strength and dex. Anything else you can get on there is poggers. This one is our hidden potential. So 22% increased damage for each magic item equipped. So that's your 2 rings. That's 44% increased damage. Plus corrupted damage. Corrupted blood cannot be inflicted upon you, which is awesome. Down here, it's the same setup. There is the same large cluster. Unfortunately, I couldn't get one with life regen. Attack speed is kind of irrelevant for this build, because that's just Caustic Arrow, and 2% is nothing. And then Student Decay, the other medium cluster we want, and that one is not rolled right, is the other one. Nope. The other one is ideally, if I can find it on the POB, I've got open on my other screen, Flow of Life and Student of Decay. This one's got Flow of Life and Wicked Pal, which is not okay. It's all right, you know. Wicked Pal is not bad. There it is. Wicked Pal, 30% increased skill, chaos damage, and skill effect duration, which is fine for our Caustic Arrow. So you know, it's all right. And then in this one, we've got a Viridian Jewel with chaos damage, life, and ideally it would be area damage. But this is one I had in my stash, and so that's what we've ended up with. In our final bit, I've gone for a 2 passive small cluster, which is here, and I rolled this myself using fossils. What's it? Pristine fossil, the life fossil, and single resonators until I hit Flow of Life, and that's what I ended up with. I didn't want to roll it any more than that because it's got regen on there, which is nice, max life on there, which is nice, fire resist. For me personally, I didn't need it on this thing, but it was, you know, whatever. So we've got the 2 points in there. So we've got life regen, and there's the Flow of Life, damage over time, max life, and life regen. So that's how my POB is sat. Sorry, not my POB. That's how my tree is sat now. This is a level 96 character. So for the next few levels, it'll be this life node here for 6% increased life. And then these 2 dots here for this jewel. And I can't remember where I put the other point. I'm just looking at my POB on the other screen. Where did I put the other point, Garth? Oh, yeah, of course. There for the chaos damage. So I'll grab that as well. I'll probably end up getting the life first, then the chaos damage, and then 90 those 2 last. And then here we'll either sit another jewel or our Watcher's Eye. I did have a Watcher's Eye in here, but it wasn't a very good one. So I took it out, scrapped it, and replaced it with the small cluster. There's so many different ways you can tree this, but this is, from all my experimentation over the last 5 or 6 leagues, this is as close excuse me, to meta as possible. It comes down to whether you're going to go life tap to get a high level of vitality, and then other than one shots you're immune, or you're going to stay with mana casts, and then the vitality isn't kind of really needed, so you gain more mana, and you gain back a point here, and then obviously this one then becomes 50% max life, and then you could either then take the 2% life regen while moving, because obviously every time you kill something, Death's Oath is going to hurt you for a little bit. It's a tickle damage, but you'll be surprised how much it tickles. Or 10% max life. No, I wouldn't suggest that. I'd either go the regen 2% life. If you're not going to use vitality at all, I'd go 50% max life on one life node, regen 2% life on while moving. If you don't like the idea of that, scrap it, and you've got an extra point to put something else somewhere. Maybe more life and energy shield from the Written in Blood thing. The reason I've taken this is for the strength. We do need quite a lot of strength on this bit, on this character, hence the strength stacking, I would say. You need to hit 180 just to put on Death's Oath. Once it's on there, theoretically you can drop down to however many attributes. And as you can see, if I take Death's Oath off, I'm not going to be able to wear it, because it's got 180 strength requirement. I'm only on 183. I did have a strength roll on my Stidge, but I got that for the tri-res. So as you can see, I was trying to get any weakness res capped, and I almost made it. I am just, no, I'm over it. I'm just, the 96 minus 20 is 76, so I'm 1 point over on my lightning resist. So if it's a 30% or more LE weakness on the map modifier, I am a bit screwed on lightning resist. But that comes down to having that in your mind when you're putting a character like this together, is you are really restricted, because effectively you lose your body armor for res. You've got 25 there on the Viridis Veil. You can't get any res other than chaos res on your amulet, and then your rings are kind of set to help you hit that strength requirement on that one. You could, no, you can't, because it's got to be life. You've got to have life because you need the suffix open for that one. And then this ring, if you're not running life tap, this ring could be a 2-stone ring for res with life and res crafted, or res on it and then crafted life, whichever you want to do it. However, I said there's a few options. I've done it this way. I prefer it this way, and from my experimentation, I just don't die unless it is from one shots. I know this is a bit longer video, it's about half an hour-ish. I'll link the POB I've been working on in the description below. It is a level 100, and it does have the legacy Quicksilver already on there, and the legacy Quiver. So if you're looking at this build, remember you will need to change those over. There you go, there's a POB. Sorry, I forgot to change screens. So if you're looking at this for a 3.17 build in Arch Nemesis, you will need to change the Quiver out, and you'll need to change the Quicksilver. I would also suggest changing the Jade Flask to a phasing flask, exactly the same roles as is on screen, just a phasing flask, because that way you can run through troops, and that is a problem I'm having at the moment. I tend to get stuck sometimes. I flame dash to get out of it, which is fine, but I'd prefer to have the phasing flask, and you can't get phasing on jewels anymore. Oh, I don't have that equipped. I'll update that before I share the POB, because I know you can't get phasing on jewels anymore. That's a legacy thing from when I originally done it. I'll do that before I link it in the description below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it's a bit longer than normal. See you in the next one.